Hey yo, how's it going? I hope everybody's having a great week. Happy Friday to everybody out there. And just another little update. I haven't been doing too many elimination diets. I did do the carnivore fast over last weekend, and I feel like my body is back to kind of normal. I still had a Snickers bar this week, but that was like my one cave. Well, that and I had some almond peanut butter cups. But then I got away with those. I don't know how to explain this, but sometimes if I'm just not eating much sugar, I'll get away with the sugar that I do decide to eat, as long as I'm not doing it like every day obsessively or something, which is something that kind of builds up over time for me. So as long as I'm mostly staying away from sugar, I mostly do good. I've been eating healthy food, proteins, good rice. I made like this like sushi wrap thing last night. It wasn't really sushi, it was cooked fish, but we made it with the sushi rice, and we made it with the veggies and soy sauce and wasabi and stuff, and it hit the spot. But one thing caught me off guard. I had sweet potatoes in a soup that had beans in it and bone broth and every other good thing that I like, and I bloated the next day. That it was like crazy. And I've sort of noticed that like sweet potatoes are like weird, and things people talk about that being a health food all the time, a great diet food. Oh, this is gonna amp your fiber, amp your nutrition, get rid of white rice, get rid of white potatoes, and eat sweet potatoes. Not me. It is, as it turns out, not a good diet food for me. And I like my sweet potatoes plain with no butter, or just in soup or something where there is definitely nothing else but the sweet potato added. So I went to handy dandy ChatGPT, and I went through this whole long thing, which I don't have time to really explain, about how actually sweet potatoes can hit you differently if your system is better at handling more simple carbs. Even though even starches that aren't sourdough bread, as long as I'm kind of keeping with enough sourdough bread, I usually do pretty good. It's like I'd say like a 60-40 split, when I try to eat like 60% of my bread is sourdough, and then the rest is coming on pizzas or tortillas or something that I'm getting out there that's not sourdough. And I'm getting away with all that. But as it turns out, if I lay one single taste bud on those healthy sweet potatoes, and it's sort of like the whey protein for me. That stuff, just for whatever reason, doesn't work in my system. So I'm so glad that I did all those elimination diets so that I could see like what was good. But now that I'm kind of like fine tuning it, I sort of just eat whatever I want, and I'm able to kind of like, because I do weigh myself every day, it's as part of the body dysmorphia, I can accidentally lose too much weight as easily as I can accidentally gain too much weight. So I have to track myself for, my own purposes. But yeah, as it turns out, one of my trigger foods is straight up good old healthy sweet potatoes. Anyhow, so this is why I definitely encourage these types of diets, because you're going to hear a bunch of advice out there on what's going to work, what's absolutely going to save you, and it could be completely awful advice for you. I recommend doing your own self-experimentation with food elimination. I like using ChatGPT or the internet as a resource for something. Obviously, it's not always going to give you the correct information, so double check, ask your doctor, ask a nutritionist, and they might even tell you sweet potatoes are oftentimes fantastic for people. I would go to a different nutritionist at that point, because they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to me and my body. I happen to know that I could eat everything else good, and if I top that off with a sweet potato, back to square one. Cheers, guys.